With Champions Real Estate Team here at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Ambassador Real Estate Company. My name is Mark Wehner, the second team leader, Champions Real Estate Team. Joining me today is Russ Williams with Williams Mortgage. So we jump on here every Wednesday and kind of give you a rundown of what's going on in the real estate market in the Omaha metro area, kind of give you a 30,000 foot view, breaking it down a little further, what's going on in the market aspect of it, what we're seeing from the real estate side. And then Russ joined us obviously to help us with that, the mortgage side of it. Ultimately those things are joined at the hip, and how we can, get you guys in the right place where you need to be, that are buying or selling. So let's jump straight into it. And as always, you can reach out to either of us. Our contact information is on the screen here. So let's jump into the kind of what the market's done over the last week. So we had 325 new listings go live as of this morning at about 8:30 or so when I did the graphic here. So last week we had 181 listings that went live the previous week. So we saw a huge uptick in the new listings, which is great. We're getting those houses on the market, which is very typical this time of year. People start putting their holiday decorations away. They're ready to rock. Okay, let's get the stagers in. Let's get the photographers in there. Let's get the house on the market. So they've been getting ready. And once the holidays stuff's put away, they get that sign in the yard. So that's what we're seeing in regards to that. New contracts, a little lower, obviously, with the New Year's and the holiday. Didn't see this last week. Obviously, we had the cold, a little bit warmer temperatures. Only saw about 111 contracts get written, houses go under contract. 250 homes were sold. So some happy homeowners over this new year. So happy new year to them and their new home. But so yeah, we're seeing some good uptick in the market as far as activity. So we'll jump in, look at a 30,000 foot view. So in the Omaha and Lincoln MLS area, we have 2,237 homes that are active in the Omaha metro area, Omaha Lincoln area. Breaking it down to the metro area in the Douglas Sarpy County, we have 1,290, just under 1,300 homes. Existing is at 416. So we are up, was a couple months ago, we were about that 600 mark. So that number's come down a little bit. New construction, 874. Months of inventory, about that 2.4, hasn't really changed too much on that aspect of it. Our average sold price hovering right there where it's been, about that 319, 320 price point in that regards there. So as we're looking at what the market's doing this time of year, I think it's still, we're going to start seeing a little bit more uptick in it. It's a lot of it's weather dependent. I know last year we had, it was fairly cold, and the market kind of delayed almost a month a little bit. But as before we got on here going live, Russ and I were talking, and some things that he's going to talk about, is that interest rates improve and things of that sort. We're going to see more buyers come in the market, and that competition is going to get, even more thick. There's going to be more activity out there. And I think that if you're seriously thinking about buying and selling, now's the time to get after it. I've talked to some friends and people over the holidays that, we were thinking about buying a house. We don't know when we want to buy. I was like, hey, let's sit down, let's talk, let's get a plan together and see if it's in the works for this year. If it is, great. But what can we do to get you to that point, where you feel comfortable of buying a house or even selling your house of that aspect of it? Or, I don't want to buy a house, I'm going to pay an exorbitant amount for my next house. I think that was the pushback we saw last year, was that, why do I want to go pay $50,000 over list price and sell my house? Well, now, I don't necessarily we're going to see that kind of a push in the market, as interest rates kind of went up a little bit, but I think we're still going to see a good, solid, normal market. I think this year I'm going to still see a lot of activity. Those going back to the historicals trends that we see. I think that's where we're going to be at, in 2023. I think it's going to be a great market to buy and sell, especially, from a real estate investment standpoint. I think we've talked about that a little bit, on our Wednesday shows, but, I think it's going to be another good time. There's some homes out there that those investors can get out there, that interest rates don't scare them. They want the asset. They want the appreciation. They're in it for the long haul. If they can get something that hasn't been in these crazy markets where it's been $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 above list price to get a house, or trying to find some off market deals, homes that aren't on the MLS, just word of mouth, that you can find out there too from a real estate investment. So I think that's going to be another avenue. Those that are thinking about getting into the real estate investment, or even just starting out or have been in it for a while, the things I'm listening to and talking to other people about, those people are ready to rock and roll. And, from a homeowner standpoint, those are going to be competition for you. So getting out there and getting your ducks in a row as soon as you can, is going to get you ahead of the curve and, get you that house that you want. So, but let's jump in with Russ. and kind of see what's going on in the mortgage side of it of the rate industry. So, but how are we doing, Russ? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yeah, we're doing great. Every time we get around the holiday season, there are fewer folks that are trading on Wall Street or in the investment pits. And so we see some bigger fluctuations in the market as well as interest rates. And that held true again this season as well. Also, we just in the last, week, 10 days here, we had the stimulus package passed out of Washington, D.C. And when you hear the word stimulus, that means it's intended to grow the economy. And that influx of cash is going to be an inflationary thing that will slow down the Fed's efforts, if you will, to try to get inflation under control. We have a couple of key reports coming out in the next couple of weeks that the Fed will be watching closely, but federal government did make it just a little bit more difficult for them to get inflation under control. But I believe that they are increasing the cost of short-term money to the extent that we probably are going to see some improvement in mortgage rates as we move through the first quarter. Having said that, Mark, and you alluded to it a moment ago, if we see interest rates move downwards, that's going to pull some folks off the sidelines that weren't there before, which means if you're holding off going out to purchase a home, you may have more competition in a week, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months than you do today, which means in the event that a property is priced properly and you happen to have another bidder that enters the home buying marketplace, that is going to possibly put some pressure on those bids that they might be pushing back closer to list price or maybe even going above list price. Is there a guarantee of that? No, but a lot of the talking heads, forecasters, prognosticators are expecting that while we won't see the huge appreciation rates like we have in the previous 2 or 3 years, we are still expecting to see an increase in property valuations in 2023 compared to where they were in 2022. And a lot of that will be driven by the finance markets, which most real estate transactions are financed. Having said that, as we turn the corner into new year, there will be some buckets of subsidy money that will be coming out in the next several months. So there is some subsidy for first-time home buyers that's available. So in the event that you're thinking that you want to buy a house and this is your New Year's resolution, this is a good time to start having that conversation with Mark and his team to get ready to buy a home. It's much more difficult when you see a home that you're interested in to start the process then, as opposed to have the conversation now and put a plan in place. Mark has talked about it many times, that if you're in athletics, you don't simply go out and play the game. You prepare, you plan, you put together a scouting report, and that's very important in the current marketplace where we have a shortage of inventory relative to the pent-up demand that's still sitting on the sidelines that we do expect to enter the marketplace at some point in 2023. So that is my advice to you to start the new year.
Yeah, and I think regardless of what rates do, just the cycle aspect of real estate is typically always you see a lot of pending houses in February and March, April, and that's just regardless of what the rates are doing. People need to buy, people need to move. They've been in all summer. They're itching to get out of the house that they're in, or they've been renting, and rents have consistently been going up. And they're like, well, I can lock in my mortgage payment for 30 years rather than have it go up, 5 or 6% every year, in regards to that. So those are those things that those people that are still on the sidelines are going to probably jump in. Even those people that are watching the rates, people just need to buy and sell all the time, regardless of, there's major life events. You get a new job, married, children, divorce, you name it, downsizing, upsizing. There's many different reasons why people buy and sell homes, from that standpoint of it. But and the other thing too is that if you are going to be moving up or even down, we've had that big appreciation over the last couple of years that you could pull some of that equity out, keep that house as a real estate investment. Most agents are going to tell you, hey, let's put a sign there, let's sell it. So that real estate agent can cash his commission and say, great, thank you very much. But I've helped a handful of people this last couple of years that appreciation's gone up a lot. They're able to pull, 75% of that equity out, leave 25% in there, and take that, on a $100,000 house, simple math, take $75,000 out, go buy their next house, whether they're upsizing, downsizing, lateral move, whatever they want to do, keep that, and cash flow it, because that $25,000 that they're keeping in that house is only $125 a month payment that's going to decrease if you put that down on that next house. And most houses, if you're looking, can cash flow them, are going to, your goal is to cash flow around $200. So you're coming out a net positive on that, off the money that's in that house. So that's some things that to look at. If you're thinking about selling your home, does it make sense to keep it? And everyone, what are the pitfalls of owning, being a landlord, property manager? Give me a holler. I'd love to chat with you, because I just bought my first couple of investment properties those last couple of years, and I'm happy to, be an open book on what I did, how I did it, goods, bads, the uglies of owning, investment properties. And I think it's a great avenue to keep that asset. And then, then that, new tenants coming in, they're paying that 75% back, essentially building that equity back up in your house with every month that they're paying on that. So that's just something you can build, just diversify your retirement account, aspect of it from a real estate perspective. And it's fairly simple to do. And Russ can help you out with those kind of cash out refinances, to pull that cash out, keep the house, and go get your next house. So that's another great way to do it. So yeah, I can go down a whole rabbit hole in that aspect of it, but I'd love to chat with you. I get excited about that kind of stuff. So, that's the fun part about this business, is helping you guys be successful, setting up generational wealth that you can build in that aspect of it. So there's a lot of times I've sat down with clients that on a listing appointment, I'm like, have you thought about keeping this house? And they're like, you're not going to get paid if we keep this house. Well, my goal is to help you grow your portfolio, essentially. And if that's something that works for you, if not, let's put a sign in the yard. I'm happy to help you either way. So it doesn't matter. It's a win-win from that standpoint of it. So appreciate everyone jumping in and listening to us this afternoon, and hope you had a great new year. We will see you guys next week. I don't know, do you have anything you wanted to finish on?
I think you covered it. It should be a nice week. This is a great time to get out there before the market really starts to fill up with buyers, and have Mark and his team find you a property. Yeah, absolutely. Love to help. Give us a holler, 672-7670, and get in touch with Russ, 290-8936. And we can get a good game plan. Like you said, we'll get the scouting reports. Because I'm going to tell you, if you're a buyer or a seller, I'm going to talk with you on what the other team is thinking. And that's how you're going to understand. That's from selling your house, how we're going to price it, because how are the buyers thinking? And from a buyer's perspective, how are we going to make an offer based on knowing what the sellers are thinking, in that regard. So, it helps working with a full-time agent that's working out there like myself, day in and day out in the marketplace, and knowing exactly, get your finger on the pulse. So love to help you, love to coach you, love to train you. Love to work with you. So appreciate your time, and take care, and we'll talk to you soon.